Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode on this journey to beating the Elite Four with a brand new team made of my first 6 encounters after every gym leader in Pokémon Insurgence. If you didn't see episode 1 or you can't remember the rules for this run, here they are. First, I must play on hard mode at all times. 2, I must capture the first 6 Pokemon I encounter after every gym leader, and that will be my team until I beat the next gym leader. 3, I can use any items, exploits, or strategies I choose to except for switching my team at any point. And 4, soft resetting is only allowed when I do not use up any non-renewable items in battle. This is done for the sake of saving time. This is the third episode in the series, and today we will begin by heading out and capturing our new team. Now, beating the last 3 gym leaders was super hard. However, with the Pokemon that are available in the upcoming areas, I believe that the next gym is actually going to be quite a bit easier. For starters, there are 2 amazing Pokemon that are available on the water in the Cave of Steam. It'll put us in a really good place moving forward if we can catch them. By surfing, we can attain ourselves a Tentacruel and an Octillery, both of which I successfully capture with relative ease. This is a good start considering that we will need Poison-type Pokemon and Poison-type attacks to have a chance at beating Harmony, who happens to be the Fairy-type gym leader, which is weak to Poison. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Octillery is not a Poison-type Pokemon, however, Octillery does have one particular Poison-type move in its moveset that we can use against Harmony, which will be very useful. So far, this is looking great. I start to wander around the cave itself in hopes of landing a ground-type Pokemon as well, and I am quickly rewarded with a Marowak, who I again successfully capture, putting me at a team size of 3. My next encounter is a Croconaw, but I accidentally poison him because of Tentacruel's Poison-type attacks, causing it to faint before I get a chance to capture it. Next up is a Heatmor, and I do manage to catch it, but fire types really aren't going to be that helpful for me in this section of the run outside of the rival Nora fight that comes in the next town. Not really the best situation, but I do have a plan for this guy, Heatmor in particular. Finally, I managed to get one more capture in this cave before moving on to another location in search of a different Pokemon. This time, I capture a Slugma. Normally, I would be quite disappointed with what Slugma has to offer, however, its evolved form Magcargo is a Pokemon that I had for this section of the game in my regular playthrough, and despite the fact that it will never outspeed its opponents since its base speed is absolutely atrocious, it's a very good Pokemon with very high special attack, special defense, and high defense, which will be very useful for this leg. It is 4 times weak to ground and water type, but despite that, the next gym doesn't have too many threats that really will create any issues that can't be avoided. Finally, I head back out to surf on water outside the cave to land myself a Lapras. It may have a lower level, but despite that, Lapras is one of the best mid-game Pokemon that you can have in this game. This is because Lapras learns Perish Song combined with its extremely high defense. This means that it can both tank hits and land the Perish Song on any final Pokemon from any team and confirm a victory for me. Lapras is less good in the late game, especially against the Elite Four, but you'll see why that is in later episodes. With that, I have a solid team, except for Heatmor. Heatmor is not terrible, but I have a different plan for him. The next gym leader has a Mega Miltank that I'm gonna have to figure out how to deal with. Its only attacking moves are Body Slam and Earthquake. This is bad for Heatmor, but good for a different Pokemon that I could have instead. If you remember, I'm allowed to use any in-game exploits or strategies that I can use to win battles, and that includes in-game trades. Back in Midna Town, there's an NPC who offers a Ghastly trade for a Heatmor. By taking advantage of this trade, I can acquire a Ghastly, who I quickly train up to Gengar. Gengar's ability is Levitate, making ground-type moves completely useless against it. And as a Ghost-type Pokemon, Body Slam will never hit, so Miltank literally can't touch Gengar. This will be my final team for this session. First things first, I head to the black market to buy myself a Bone Club for Marowak to increase his attack. With my severely underleveled team, it's time to start grinding. On the bright side, I now have the Lucky Egg. What the Lucky Egg does for the Pokemon that is holding it is that it allows the Pokemon to receive boosted experience from every battle that it wins. Essentially, this is going to cut the required grinding time in almost half. What you are seeing here is the grind that I did for Slugma in order to evolve it into a Magcargo and further since all the trainers around here are ground type trainers, I won't really be able to train it any other way except against wild Pokemon. This grind session really does show off just how much more convenient this run is going to become for me from here on out. It took almost no time at all to grind Magcargo from level 35 all the way to 51. After this grind, I defeated the rest of the trainers pre-rival Nora fight, then headed out to fight Nora. I know going into this fight that my team is too underleveled to win, so these couple attempts are more like reconnaissance missions to scout out what I'm up against. I actually did really well considering how underleveled my team is, so I just need to grind my team a little more to about level 50 to be ready to face this fight. What ended up happening though is that I grinded my team up all the way up to the level cap 53 because the lucky egg just made grinding so much easier that I decided why not finish this grind now while I'm at it. I really probably didn't need to in order to beat Nora, but I did anyway, except for Marowak, who stayed at level 47. This fight, it should be no problem now. And to be honest, it was a total pushover. Despite his underleveling, I lead with Marowak, and Bone Rush makes quick work of Aegislash, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Liavani comes out, so I send out Magcargo. Liavani uses Sword Dance, so Magcargo can use one of his 4 times super effective moves to take it out. Nora sends out Celebi to lose half health to Magcargo, then switches to Crobat, who loses about a quarter health, then gets sent down all the way to the red from one rock type move. It does poison me, so I switched back to my underleveled Marowak, who finished the job against Crobat with Thrash. Mega Flygon comes out and finishes Marowak, then one-shots Octillery. Then one-shots Gengar. Despite this turn of events, I send out Lapras next, who only loses half health to Dracon Voice, allowing me to use my 4 times super effective Ice Beam, taking it out in only 2 shots. Already half health, Celebi comes back, so I follow up with Magcargo, who takes Celebi out after incurring 1 hit, of course. Finally, Florges comes out. I could have changed to Tentacruel, who would have made quick work with Florges, but after seeing just how little damage it did, I was able to keep Magcargo out just as long as I used Recover periodically to ensure I never fainted, and the battle was over rather quickly after that. What made this battle so easy was just that no real strategic thinking was needed going into it. At every turn, my Pokemon were just stronger, so grabbing that victory wasn't even a little bit difficult. By beating Nora, we now have access to the library. However, now we have to battle the Ancient Oracle. As usual, I ran right into the battle without preparing, just for a recon mission so I could scout out his team, and actually came quite close to winning. I was able to whittle the Oracle down to 2 Pokemon before losing myself, and that's when I realized that this fight was also going to be really easy. I just need to play a little bit smarter and make some smarter decisions that don't cause half my team to faint to Delphox. Proof of how easy this battle is came when my victory occurred on just the 2nd attempt. I actually opened with a mistake by leading out with Gengar against Claydol. Gengar would have been a one-hit KO, but I switched him out for Octillery really quick instead. Octillery was able to tank 2 hits before taking out Claydol in 1 shot with a Hydro Pump. Out comes Delphox, who takes out Octillery. I follow with Tentacruel. Tentacruel tanks 1 Psychic, then takes Delphox out in 1 shot with a Hydro Pump. Mega Banette comes out next, so I send out Lapras. Lapras gets burned, but Banette is the weaker Pokemon as it slowly gets taken out with some successive Ice Beams. The Oracle sends out Gengar, so I hit it with 1 Ice Beam before healing Lapras from its low health, then from its burn. Lapras tanks another Sludge Bomb, so I heal again. Gengar uses 2 Destiny Bonds in a row, so 1 Ice Beam finishes him off, sadly taking my Lapras down with it. I send out Tentacruel on a suicide run just to see which Pokemon is coming out next. It's Aegislash, who does what it needs to take out Tentacruel, but Tentacruel does get 1 Hydro Pump off before fainting. I send out Magcargo, but Aegislash does most of the work all by itself by repeatedly using Substitution until its health is in the red, allowing me to finish it off with just 1 Lava Plume. Finally, Jellicent comes out and I send out Gengar, who 2-shots Jellicent without taking any damage, and this battle is won. I'm not gonna lie, both of these first 2 battles were won in the first 2 attempts, and I'm starting to feel really good about this team. Hopefully I can keep this winning trend up all the way to the end of the leg. The level cap moves up after this battle, so now I can stop skipping trainers for the extra experience. The next step of the journey requires me to travel down to Miara Town and encounter Audrey, the abyssal cultist leader in the museum. She challenges me to a battle, so I need to head out to the Rural Islands to take her on. There are several cultists around that I don't need to skip since I'm still not at the level cap. After a few minutes of searching, I find and challenge Audrey to a recon battle, like I've been doing with the first two. Yet again, I come pretty close to winning on just the recon battle. I just need to play with the right strategy, then we can add another win to the record books. First, I use the Pokemon Center to restock on potions and revives, and I head back to Helio City for some focus sashes and one Nevermelt Ice to help power up Lapras' Ice Beam. However, while I was in Helio City, something great happened. The Pika Taxi, which is the best way to fast travel in this game by the way, finally offered me the VIP pass so I can no longer need to spend money to use it. Finally, my last step before moving on to Audrey one more time is to grind my team the rest of the way to level 55. This takes all of only 20 minutes as the Pokemon around here offer stupidly high levels of experience, making it almost instant before I'm back in Audrey's cave, ready to challenge her yet again. My strategy requires me to lead with Marowak, who is tough enough to tank one Scald and strong enough to one-shot Lantern with a Bone Rush. Next comes out Ludicolo, and I send out Tentacruel to one-shot it with a Sludge Wave. Superior comes out next, so I send Lapras, who is a 3-shot against Superior's Thunder. Because of this, the battle is back and forth between Ice Beams, Thunders, Paralysis, and Healing, until Superior finally hits that critical hit, taking my Lapras out. I send out Marowak just so I can use Revive on Lapras to get it back in the game. Superior runs out of Thunder, so with no good attacks to use on Lapras, I take time to heal up my entire team to prep for the rest of the fight. At last second, Audrey switches off for Swampert, which catches me just a little off guard. I know Swampert is going to use Earthquake, so I send out Gengar, who will not take damage due to its Levitate ability. 2 Shadow Balls bring Swampert down to a sliver of health as Swampert takes out Gengar. I send out Marowak as a sacrifice so I can revive Gengar and get him back in the game. Gengar outspeeds and Swampert falls. Superior is back and takes out Gengar, so I send Lapras back out, who misses due to paralysis. Audrey then switches out for Crawdaunt. I switch out for Octillery, who almost gets one-shot by a superpower, but holds on with that lucky Focus Sash. Really glad I stocked up on those before this battle, and finished off Crawdaunt with 1 Bullet Seed. Superior comes back out again. I switch to Lapras, and finally finish the job. Lugia is the last remaining on Audrey's team, and it stands no chance against a Perish Song, as Audrey has no Pokemon left to switch in. 3 turns later and the battle is over, for yet another win in less than 3 attempts. I did happen to mention in the last video that I was sure the game was going to get a little bit easier after that leg, but I do want to be a little bit careful when it comes to expectations because I also have a really good team just in general for this leg. Lapras especially is an absolute killer Pokemon that is built to just win with its extremely high defense and spectacular moveset. Gengar is another fantastic Pokemon, as is Tentacruel and Magcargo. Even Marowak is just an overall good Pokemon to have on the team. The reality is that this team is just an amazing team, and I need to be ready for the next leg to be a lot harder against the Steel and Electric type gym. However, before that, we still have one more gym battle to go. I avoid every non-mandatory trainer battle en route to the next town, and I'm ready to take on the gym leader. Yet again, it's another battle that takes less than 3 attempts to win. Delta Crustle comes out first, and Tentacruel is able to take most of its health with a Sludge Wave. I heal up and use 1 barrier to increase my defense. I'm able to force Harmony to use up all of her healing items on the first Pokemon, and Tentacruel goes down as Crustle's health sits in the red. I throw out Octillery to tank 1 hit with its Focus Sash, then finish off Crustle with 1 Gunk Shot, a poison type move that I got from the move relearner before this battle to make sure that Octillery had a poison type attack. Out comes Sylveon, and Octillery goes down as I use a max revive on Tentacruel. Tentacruel comes back out and gets 1 Sludge Wave off before going down to Psyshock. Next, I send out Gengar, who outspeeds and uses 1 Shadow Ball, but doesn't finish Sylveon off. Sylveon retaliates with her own Shadow Ball, bringing Gengar down to 1 HP. Sylveon's Life Orb then takes itself out. Gardevoir comes out, and I revive Tentacruel yet again. Gardevoir uses Moonblast to take out Gengar. However, Gardevoir is wearing a Choice Scarf, so it's stuck using Moonblast until it's either taken out of the battle or runs out of Moonblasts. I send out Tentacruel and take the time to revive and heal Gengar as well, since Moonblast is not very effective against Tentacruel. After that, Gardevoir is withdrawn after 2 Sludge Waves, bringing it all the way down to the red. With Tentacruel at half health, Azumarill is a 1-hit KO with yet another Sludge Wave. Gardevoir is coming back out, so I send in my Cargo to tank one hit, then finish the job with one Lava Plume. Miltank is coming out next, so I send out Gengar. The problem here is that I took time to teach Gengar Hypnosis before this battle began. The plan was to put Miltank to sleep, then use Dream Eater to take its health down. Miltank can't hit Gengar with any move, so it's stuck. However, Miltank keeps waking up after 3 turns, then heals itself with a drink milk. After several turns, Harmony's AI is like, oh, I can't hit this guy, and she takes Miltank back and sends out Togekiss. Togekiss takes Gengar out rather quickly. I send out Tentacruel and take out most of Togekiss's HP with a Sludge Wave, but on the plus side, I do poison it. I heal Tentacruel as it's in critical health range, then Togekiss is switched out for Miltank. Miltank takes Tentacruel out with 1 Earthquake since it's super effective, but not before I can revive Gengar and send him back out into the stalemate. The stalemate continues for a few more turns before Togekiss comes back out. This time, Togekiss uses Nasty Plot, so Gengar can land 1 Shadow Ball to bring Harmony down to her last Pokemon. Miltank comes back out, but instead of keeping Gengar out, I send in Lapras this time to try and get 1 Perish Song in. I succeed, and 3 turns later, the battle is over. And with that, so is this leg of the journey. I'm just gonna be frank here. This leg of the journey was really easy. To be honest, the challenge level was high enough that I still needed to be a competent player in order to win, but it was still easy enough that very little preparation had to go into each battle. And I am very disappointed to see this team go. It is really good and great for handling tough opponents. Sadly, I'm not too sure we're ever going to have another team that can just clean sweep all of our opponents in a single leg like that again. If we do, great, but I really don't think so. The odds of that happening twice are very low. On the bright side, we do have a very short leg coming up in the next one, and I'm hoping that we have another simple one with hopefully very little real challenge. This leg was a solid break from the real hard and challenging gameplay that I've had to put up with up to this point, but it's time to start psyching myself up for the next one. Thank you very much for being here. Anybody who stuck around for the whole video, leave a like and subscribe if you want to, and comment to let me know what you think or if you have any ideas. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week.